That's right.
I think in Matthew 6, the Bible says something about don't worry about what you're going to eat, what you're going to wear, where you're going to sleep, what you're going to sleep. He said all these things the Gentiles worry about, meaning unbelievers. He said this is what the world worry about. He said, but if you seek first my kingdom and my righteousness, guess what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to supply all your needs. Now, the fine point on this is whether or not you have faith to believe God. God not going to slack on his promises. But I recall in 1 Peter 1 it says we protected by the power of God through faith. God's power will leave you when your faith walk out the window. So if don't ever doubt God, doubt your faith if God didn't help you. Because God going to supply all our needs if we trust him. And it don't mean he going to give us what we want on our schedule, but he going to give us what we know we need because he's perfect and we're not. So if we can honor God's purpose in our life, we'll be fine. But if we want to argue with God, when I got some Chuck Taylors, when I wanted some Jordans, amen, somebody's children and daughters on that, sons and daughters. But settle for what God gives you, and you'll be surprised when the things you think you need, you don't want to need at all. And you'll find yourself happy and content. You don't have to worry about peer pressure and all this other stuff because you are mature enough to be yourself. And a lot of our kids can't be themselves because they don't see their parents being themselves. And I'm going to read something out of my notes right quick. It says, as people, we have been adopted from the status of creation of God to the status of sons of God. We need to understand that God places a very high standard on family life. In fact, it's the foundation of proper church life. Throughout history, the state of the family has determined the state of individuals and nations. The quality of family life is critical to our happiness, emotional well-being, and our mental and spiritual health. Young people are starting families without ever learning what a proper family should be like. Satan is taking advantage of our fatherless homes. Our young people are committing more suicides, doing more drugs, making more babies, and continuing the cycle of poor quality family life. Many fathers have never had good fathers, and therefore they struggle at being good fathers. Satan wants us to live from our fears, addictions, and insecurities because it prohibits us from living by faith. Having a strong family doesn't mean there aren't any problems, but it does mean that there aren't any problems that you can't confront in love and help each other overcome instead of degrading each other in their faults. So, first and foremost, we need to understand this. A lot of kids look up at their parents. When kids first born, they think Daddy's Superman and Mama Wonder Woman. And as they get older, they start losing respect. So they start getting their own knowledge, and they start seeing their fault in what they thought was 100 was number 40%. And so they start doubting. Then they start seeing Daddy ain't got it all together like they thought he did. Then they start getting losing respect altogether. And then this turns into disrespect, and then the family start falling apart because Daddy don't know how to handle that, and the son don't know how to handle it, and everybody gets to fussing and fighting and arguing. But that's why it's important that we come together as a family unit. I didn't have a father. I knew my father, but he lived in another state, and his best friend was Jack Daniels. But my mama raised us, a woman trying to raise 4 boys to be men. And women actually think they can raise men to be men, and men think they can raise girls to be women, and neither one of them can do it. It takes a family. And it's sad because I go to my daughter, she cheerlead for Little League, and I see women out there, little boys that hurt their arm, and they scream at them, "Stop holding your arm, you all right. You don't hurt, you're a man." But that's what you'll get when you get a woman trying to think what a man's supposed to be. She'll tell him to hold his arm and he's not hurting, and the arm might be broke. Don't cry. I'm like, excuse me, I'm a man, and we cry.
That's right.
Can we cry sometimes?
That's right.
We human. Jesus wept.
That's right. Amen.
But men have that. We got that stereotype that we ain't supposed to cry. We're supposed to be hard. Then you're not human.
That's right.
Because man is a mind, will, and emotions, conscience, and a spirit. If you can't cry, then you don't have emotions. You're not emotional. Right? You need to be a mannequin in somebody's window. So let it out.
That's right.
then heal and move on and keep going on with your life. And then, and women, let your man let it out.
Amen.
He's not a wimp, he's not a punk, he's a human.
That's right.
And we gotta learn how to, we need more situations where we confront each other with this truth, with this reality, you know. Because the children here today gonna be the lawyers, doctors, presidents, governors, mayors of tomorrow. And what they get in the day from mom and dad is going to determine what they get tomorrow, what they become tomorrow, and how they're going to raise the next generation. Think about it, we're always only one generation away from apostasy. Apostasy when nobody acknowledges God no more. If I don't teach my kids about Jesus, they won't know about Jesus. And if they have kids, they ain't no more Jesus. And so we need to check our priorities.
Amen.
Is our priorities making money? So we can give our kids the best that they ever had, so they can go out and be spoiled brats and go out and talk about other kids because they ain't got it.
That's right.
Man, what kind of shirt you got on? That ain't no polo. That's a pulo. They spelled your polo wrong on your shirt. And so kids go out and they get what do you call it? Insecurities. They got to go get on the bus and they're embarrassed because they got to get on the bus because they know people are going to talk about it. And it'd be good if mom or daddy got on that bus sometime and said, hey, ain't nothing wrong with this, ain't nothing wrong with that. Sometimes go to the school, sit up there and just sit with the kids and talk with them. Because I'm going to tell you something, everybody is perpetrating. I've never seen a baby come out worried about what kind of diapers he got on. Never seen a baby's diaper sagging. You know. Never seen the baby come out bling bling. All that is learned behavior. We learn it, and by the time they get pre-K, it's all over. Because parents, you know, sad thing is, what people don't understand is parents are young. Most parents start out young when they have their kids. You just got to graduate high school, next thing you know you're a parent. And you just come out of a dysfunctional family yourself. But now you got to raise your kids. Right?
Yes.
Wow. Let's see, I didn't have a daddy, but I'm finna be one. That's hard, that's complicated. And so, and people judge you for that, and then you go judge yourself on top of that, and you condemn yourself, you know, and it's all a learning process. And that's why God said, I put older men and older women in the church, and we're supposed to come together and help one another, encourage one another, not condemn one another. But you know, when I see old people, you know what they say? Boy, y'all, I'm sorry. When I was your age, we ain't let our kids get away with that. Yo, I said, well, I think I remember you. When I was a kid, you told me to go out and play in the street. Boy, shut up. Yo, that wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. But when people get older, they get amnesia and they want to act like they did everything right. Instead of just admitting, you know what? I was young, I didn't know what I was doing. But now that I'm old, I've learned something. Let me help you out.
Yes. Help us.
And when we do that, the church gonna be stronger. You gotta realize, by me letting you neglect your kids, I'm just not letting you neglect your family. We're neglecting a whole neighborhood, a whole city, a whole state, a whole nation. Because all these kids gonna go around and they're gonna propagate all that ignorance, you know. And I'm gonna show y'all in a minute that Jesus had a dysfunctional family. I know you ain't never heard that one. Look at now everybody know that Mary got impregnated by people being lazy and stealing, okay?